Wong. I graduated from Melbourne Uni in Australia, and I specialized in accounting and finance. I got my chartered practicing accounting in year 2002. In Intune, I run the business development segment. I'm also a certified partner accounting running with my wife. My wife is actually the other partner that runs the firm.
My name is Lily Yong. I'm graduated with a corporate finance degree from University of Adelaide, Australia. My first job is with Ernst & Young, an accounting firm, for 5 years. Then I moved on to manage an internal audit department for an Australian listed company. I'm a member of Certified Practicing Accountant Australia and also a member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants. So in Intune, I am the managing partner. I take care of the sales, business development, and also overseeing the operations at Intune. So I've been a practicing accountant for the last 20 over years.
The company was started long time ago when I was still with KPMG. So during that time, I got a lot of friends who are having complication and stress when they run business. And most of their challenge is they cannot hire an accountant. So as a result, they always only hire maybe a clerk or an exec. A lot of time they have a lot of issues with their finance, payment, sometimes the money gets lost, sometimes the accounts don't close in time, payment is not done in time. So that time when they wanted to hire me, then I was thinking, how are they going to pay me? Like if they were to hire me and I charge them 10,000 for SME, how can they afford me? So I went back and I think, and then one day I got this idea. This idea just popped up. If 5 of them combine, each one maybe pay me 3,000 a month, then I can serve 5 of them at one shot. I become like a HQ accountant to 5 of them. Then I can assemble a team to actually support them, and that's how Intune was formed. In terms of the company, our team structure is divided into sales and operation. So the sales is very simple. We serve our client by understanding their need, and then we provide them the solution. In terms of the operation, is divided into 2 segments currently. We have the finance, which take care of the day-to-day accounting for our client, from payment to preparing the financial statement. Another team that we have is doing the HR and payroll service to ensure that the day-to-day of the salary and remuneration, including compliance, are taken care of. As an accountant, as a service provider, we need to be able to sync along, tune into the processes of our client and customize. For example, maybe a manufacturing client would be very different from a trading client. So Intune means as a provider, we are tuning into their needs and requirements.
The vision of Intune is to be the leading finance and human resource outsourcing provider in Malaysia. In this vision, we want to create financially driven entrepreneurs and businesses who runs their business based on numbers, analytics in driving their business to their goals. The mission of Intune is to support every small medium enterprises becoming large by being their strong finance and HR pillars for their businesses. This means that we are providing them a team of knowledgeable professionals with strong processes and workflow to support them in their growth journey becoming large. There are 3 main types of services being provided at Intune. Number 1 is the finance, number 2 is the human resource, and number 3 is the consultancy. So in terms of finance, so what we do is that we does the everyday accounting and finance functions for our small medium enterprises clients, like preparing payments, even issuing invoice, official receipts, reconciling their sales collection on an everyday basis, up to giving them a financial dashboards and accounts every month, up to on a half-yearly basis to sit with them and review their financial dashboards, and at the end of the year to take care of their audit and taxes on their behalf. That's on the finance side. So the second type of service that we provide for our client is human resource related, which means we take care of their payroll. We make sure that the payrolls are calculated correctly, accurately, on time, and in compliance with all labor laws, EPF, SOCSO, etc. And then taking care of the leave for their staff, and making sure that at year end, all the forms, all the compliance matters with Income Tax Office is complied with. So in terms of HR, we also assist our clients to issue HR related letters, like when a new staff come on board, to give them the employment letter, when they confirm, and if there's any increase in salary, bonus, we help them out with all those papers.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, it's Intune Business Series again. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight, we have a returning friend and a great coach, and also a business mentor to me, and he's also a great trainer. Julius is a good friend of mine, and he runs Nikao Consulting. He provides a lot of training to a lot of SME, supporting SME to become large too. So without further ado, let me introduce Julius. Hi, Julius.
Hi, Alex. Good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Good to see you. Always good to see you.
Okay, so let our audience know a bit more about you and Nikao and what you do and how you support SME or even beyond SME. I know you've been supporting clients beyond SME too.
Yeah, okay. My name is Julius Wee. I'm the founder of Nikao Consulting. And what we mainly do is training and organizational development and a little bit of business coaching. So what we do is we help leaders by facilitating, for example, strategic workshops. I'm going to share some of the stuff with you. Take tons of notes. It's great that Alex and Intune has brought this. So get ready to take some of these notes because you can actually apply this to your organization. And then we train their managers and their leaders and their staff in current matters like, mindfulness, digital marketing and things like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's great, especially now in this era of FMCO, EMCO. I think a lot of people are working from home. I think while we are connected, we are also having struggled to be really getting in touch with each other. The digital world somehow, while it's there, it also provides a different challenge working from home with different environment. And I think with this whole extension of FMCO and everything, I think there will be a lot of issues that could be cropping up. I was just wondering how do people get to talk to each other and work on an issue effectively? So I think that would be a great topic to start this evening.
Yeah. Actually, under EMCO, and this has been around for a while, businesses, whether SMEs or large organizations, really need a lot of new ideas. They need ideas more than ever before because these are unprecedented times. So a lot of people talk about like we need new ideas and things like that. We want brainstorming, but the first question I guess we need to ask is, what is brainstorming? Yeah. And a lot of people don't really understand what brainstorming is. So maybe if it's okay, I can just share a slide, Alex, on brainstorming.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you Google search brainstorming and you write the definition of brainstorming, you're going to come out with about 25,800,000 results. So there's a lot of definitions of brainstorming.
Wow.
Things like group discussion to produce ideas. But let me break it down to you. There are more than this 5 that I'm going to share with you, but hope that you will get some clarity. So maybe, you can all grab some writing materials or take a screenshot or something like that. So let me share with you 5 kinds of brainstorming. There are more than 5, but I think this 5 would be more than sufficient. So you need to get the idea of brainstorming right first before we say let's do a brainstorming session. Yeah. So the first kind of brainstorming is what we call analytical brainstorming. And analytical brainstorming uses evaluation and they use a lot of data. So this brainstorming is based on data and analysis, and you are brainstorming facts. You are connecting the dots between facts. Yeah. And this is very good if you have the numbers. Intune is brilliant. You have the numbers. You have all the financial numbers that you do for clients. You'll be a great partner in this because some people cannot just join the dots between data. So this is called analytical brainstorming. It uses factual artifacts such as data and evidences. So that's the first kind of brainstorming. The second kind of brainstorming is different. It's in a way the opposite side of the yo-yo, and it's called hypothetical brainstorming. And basically, this brainstorming asks like what if questions, so this is not based on data, but what could happen. And it uses your experience, it uses role plays, it uses creative problem solving. So a little bit opposite, not based on data, but based on everybody's individual experiences. The third type of brainstorming is collaborative brainstorming. Collaborative brainstorming, the focus there is on teams. Yeah, and the teams will actually discuss ideas and discuss topics. Maybe later, if we have a time, we can actually do some collaborative brainstorming. And you need different kinds of people. The more kind of diverse people, the better. The fourth kind of brainstorming is virtual, and we need it now because we can't go into the office spaces. So the question is, how do you do it online and things like that? And overlooked kind of brainstorming, which is also equally important, is silent brainstorming. Silent brainstorming actually involves people. It could be individuals, it could be groups, and you come up with ideas through writing or through some quiet medium. So sometimes, we take time away, we go into a coffee shop, we just bring a journal there and, with our phone there to surf the internet for research information, or just jotting down our thoughts or journaling what's happening. And this is a kind of more quiet kind of brainstorming. So if you're thinking of brainstorming in your organizations, I guess you have to ask, which kind of brainstorming do I really, really want?
I see. Okay. That is a very interesting. I never know that you can look it from 5 point of view. So what would be some of the key criteria to have a successful brainstorming? Let's say we choose one out of the 5 that we talk about. What would be some of the key criteria to have a successful brainstorming?
3 criteria. I think one good way to actually look at it is firstly to ask what makes brainstorming fail, rather than start with what makes brainstorming succeed. Yeah. So some of the things from my experience when I work with organizations, it doesn't matter whether it's SMEs, because it's in SME, sometimes, we are a small business and basically the boss is in charge, a very Chinaman, even though you are not Chinaman. Basically you control the whole organization. But it could be also corporates, and it could be a Chinaman concept. But when we look at why brainstorming fails, the main thing that brainstorming fails is it could be a lack of knowledge, it could be a lack of understanding and skills. But the key here is the facilitator. The facilitator is important. The leader leading the brainstorming, yeah? And there are 3 things to watch out for. Number 1 is there must be structure. If you go into a brainstorming and you've never done it before and you have no structure, then it's going to fall apart because everybody's going to look to you as a facilitator, but you don't have a guided structure, yeah? The second thing is there's no strong leadership skills. So, for example, when people come up with opposing ideas and you have no leadership skills, then things goes downhill very quickly. Alternatively, you have no self-control. You want your own ideas to come out, and that's not very good in brainstorming, yeah? And the third thing is poor idea generation techniques. This is really, really, it causes brainstorming to fail. 2 caveats is, number 1, some people are not designed for brainstorming. So eventually, most people are okay for brainstorming, but you have to watch out for toxic members. Members that shoot other people down, members that try and control the whole thing. So watch out for that. And brainstorming must be engaging. It must be autonomous. That means people must be able to, they must be able to share what they want to share. And and it must be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Alex.
The space needs to be open, and I get the importance of having someone to facilitate and to making sure that it's open and to provide a safe space for people to voice out without anyone overpowering the whole idea, because it's supposed to be brainstorm and you let the storm brew out from all the brain, and then whatever come out, let it come out lah. That's what I get from what you share lah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For success factors, maybe I just share another slide.
Sure.
For success factors, there are a couple of success factors, and the first success factor is remember that once you have all those elements, there are no bad ideas in brainstorming, and you can be creative. Try and give a few days notice. Not everybody can think on the spot. You can as a leader, but sometimes your team member can't, and leaders sometimes forget that. They give people like a 1 hour notice, and people come in and they say, these people are not smart. It's not that. Some people need some time to think about that, mull about that. Try and put whiteboards all over the room, and put a lot of areas where people can draw. People love drawing. And important here is invite 5 to 7 people max. Ideally, there is this law that says that if you have less than 4, say you have 1 or 2 people for brainstorming, 3 even, the synergy is not there. There's not enough numbers. But if you have more than 5, let's say you have 6, 7, or it goes to 8, 9, what happens is once the dynamics hit 6, 7, or more than that, the extroverts will control the meeting and the introverts will just clam up and shut down. So you need to watch out for those things.
I see. Okay. The involvement and engagement is also very, very important. Okay. So how can brainstorming actually benefit SME, like, or even people in general? Like, what do people get out from successful brainstorming?
That's a really, really great question. We need brainstorming now more than ever. We are in EMTO now, and we need a lot of new ideas. There's no more crucial time for brainstorming. And, in organizations, like last time when I was doing business coaching, one of the things that a lot of people say that, times are bad, the economy is bad, we can't do anything. But one thing that I learned from one of the coaches who was coaching me is he talked about assets. We have assets in our organization. So say, for example, let's say you have a florist business and you have 2 assets. One is hard assets, one is soft assets. Hard assets are things physical, like a florist business will have flowers, they would have tables, they would have a fax machine, they would have a computer, they would have hard things, physical things, right? So the question is, how do you use the hard assets? So for example, if you say my florist business is slow, you can use your table, right? You can move your table and your flowers outside and do some decoration, maybe with artificial flowers so it doesn't die. You can do that. You have a fax machine. You can actually use the fax machine to fax out promotions, or if you have a computer, you can actually use that. But most people will just sit in the shop and say, business is bad, we can't get people. They're not using assets. On the other hand, there are soft assets, and soft assets are intangible. Soft assets are not hard. Soft assets are things like your customer database. Soft assets are like your knowledge, your team's knowledge, things that are intangible. And that's where and people can use soft assets like soft assets like your knowledge or people's knowledge. And that's where brainstorming comes in. Are you tapping on everybody's head right now? I mean, you could be an SME with 5 staff. You could have an SME with 50 staff. There's 50 brains. Or there's 10 brains. There's 15 brains. And you're not using it. You're just saying, this coronavirus is bad. The government's not doing. And we just go into that zone of isolation while there are all these assets. And that's how you can actually use brainstorming, unleash the assets. So with that in mind, there are a lot of benefits to brainstorming, actually. I'll share some of the more common benefits to brainstorming. So one of the benefits is now you have all these soft assets, your team. You can get your team to come together to solve problems together. Not just you. Remember, the leader is important. The facilitator is important. The structure is important. So you do that. Solve problems together. The other thing is engagement. A lot of companies, small, medium, or large companies, they always talk about we need to engage our people, we need to motivate them. And brainstorming is a brilliant way to engage people because people love sharing ideas and not being judged on their ideas. They love contributing, but often enough, we don't give people a chance to engage. So people get motivated and engaged. The third one is you can actually get innovative ideas, not problem-solving ideas, but if you phrase your question correctly, you actually get new ideas to pivot out of the business, new business models and things like that. And the question is important. If you focus the question on problem-solving, the people will solve problems. If you focus the question on creating new business models, the people will do that. Lateral thinking is a form of brainstorming. That means, as a leader, I would think one way. But if I get someone in my team and they could be from another department or they could be more junior than me, the way they solve problem is different, but they are solving the same problem. So this is what we call lateral thinking, parallel ways of solving problems. There's not just one way, yeah? You can use brainstorming for strategic thinking, which a lot of organizations do, where you grab your team involved, and you can also get outside inputs. Now, this is very important for EMCO. We are in an era of complexity thinking, right? Now, simple thinking, let me talk about simple thinking and complicated thinking. Simple thinking is A equals to B, cause and effect. Like if there's a problem, just solve this problem, right? Complicated thinking is like you need a little bit of smarts, you need to do scenario planning, strategic planning. But if you look at simple thinking and complicated thinking, it's usually the manager or the leaders that do this. They give instructions or they come up with all the scenarios that people follow. Complexity thinking is different and it's brilliant for EMCO. Complexity thinking is we don't know what the future is, so let's create a future. It is a ready, fire, then aim, not ready, aim, fire, right? In complicated thinking, it's ready, aim, fire, but in complexity thinking, it's ready, fire, aim. So what I mean is ask your team for inputs, try it out, and see whether it works. So these are some brilliant benefits for brainstorming, especially during the EMCO period where we need to pivot. We need a lot of fresh ideas and things like that.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes brilliant things can come up. Yeah, and I think it's also true what you say. I think a lot of business owners sometimes feel that everything is on their shoulder. It's also because of the lacking of engagement with the team. And I think given that brainstorming, it also engaged that this is the entire company's issues or things that we need to work on together rather than it's just the manager or just the business owner in that sense. Okay, good. Shall we show them how do we actually do this virtual brainstorming? I mean, I heard we talk about it, and how can we do it virtually?
Yeah. I'll just share with you some samples first, and then I will perhaps get your team to be involved in just a bit. But maybe I can share some basic samples of what virtual brainstorming looks like. Yeah. So, and your team can get ready too. So anyway, this is something that I recently did with one of my clients. Basically, they are quite a huge organization. They are an international organization. But one of the things that I got them to do is I got them to talk about sales and marketing, operations and support, and then products and solutions. Then on the top here, you can see strategies that are working. And then at the bottom here, you can actually see strategies that are not working. Yeah. And I have a bunch of post-its here. So basically the rule was to ask the team to post in terms of sales marketing, what do they feel is working in the company and what do they feel is not working in the company? In terms of operation and support, what do they feel is working in the company and what do they feel is not working in the company? And then in terms of products and solutions, what's working in the company and what's not working in the company. And you can see all the various sort of ideas that are being posted there. And, even as a leader, do you know what's working, what's not working? And imagine, I got a room full of 20 people and all of them were posting different things. And there were some things that you probably already know, but there could be some novel things. And it's not judgmental brainstorming. It's brilliant. It's not judgmental. Now, maybe we can do a simulation. So if your team is ready, you can go into the link that I've shared with your team. Yeah. So if you click in the link, and I'll share this to the audience so that they can see what's happening. By the way, this is live. It's not rehearsed. It's not repeated. So if you go into the link, you will be able to see this. Let's say the problem we want to have is ideas for hiring staff, because now in EMCO, people are also leaving. They call it the employment exodus. People are leaving. But we want to hire staff, but not just hire staff. We want to hire staff that fits into our unique culture, because some people fit into our culture, some people don't. Yeah. So here we have a bunch of post-its. Yeah. And you can actually click on the post-it, and if you double click, you can type something here. Yeah. So you can type ideas here, and then if you click on the post-it later, you can move it around, and you can use your mouse scroller, or you can go to the bottom of the screen here on the right hand side. You can zoom out and zoom in. So once you've typed your idea, you can actually move the idea to this white place here. Yeah. So filled in ideas, you move over here. If you need more post-its, you can do this over. There's more at the bottom. Yeah. So everybody, right now, you and your team, why don't you? I think there are a few of you here. Why don't you write down some ideas that how can you hire staff that fits into our culture, right? So I'm going to type in some of my ideas. For example, define your culture first. That's my idea, but that's not your idea. Yeah. So I'm going to like move this here and some ideas here. Stories of what was not working. Oh, there's one here. Stories of what works. So those in the crowd can see there are some ideas already building up here. We already have like 7 ideas. Stories of what's working, stories of not what working. Yeah. Okay, so it's building up here now. We have more and more ideas. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So those in the audience, those in Facebook or wherever you're logging in, you can see some of the ideas here. Stories of what's working, get recommendations from staff. Let me add one more. Culture book like Zappos or Starbucks. Yeah. Okay. So this is brainstorming, and there are a few of us, and not all these ideas are coming from me. They're coming from 2 or 3 or 4 different people and things like that. Okay. So you can keep adding to the ideas, but actually, if you click on the window, and you can see it turns into a hand, and you can actually drag it along, or you can zoom out and zoom in. Now, what I want you to do, Alex, Lily, and the team, is I want you to move the post-its over to this place on the right-hand side, and let me describe it what it is. High value, that means the ideas here will generate a lot of results, right? They will actually solve the problem. The higher the value, they will solve the problem. Low value is they not so effective, like okay only. So that's high value, very effective. Low value, not effective. High effort, that means there's a lot of effort in terms of either money or time to implement it. It's a long-term project, or there's a lot of resources needed. Low effort, you can do it very simply. Yeah. So I want you to go post-it by post-it, and I want you to move it over to see where it fits in, whether it's easy to do, hard to do, and things like that. Yeah. So you understand? Go post-it by post-it, and then move it over. Is it high value? That means, do you think it'll be very impactful, very effective? Do you think it'll be low value, not so effective, only okay? Low effort is, really easy to do. Simple, I can do it in like 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day. High effort needs a lot of money, and needs a lot of time, needs a lot of people. It's going to take things away. Yeah. And don't just put it in a box. You can put it higher or lower depending on how much value it is and how easy it is. Yeah. So get people of similar culture to refer. Is that low effort? I don't know how low that is. Looks quite a lot of efforts. You need to talk to people. So this one I may move a little bit, maybe middle. Yeah. So you can move it around and things like that. All right. So those in the audience, you can see how I've moved it. So I had remember I was talking about structure, right? And in this structure, there was just post-its, and I gave them a question, and I asked them to fill up the post-its, and as they fill up the post-its, there's this blank area, and then I gave them a new structure into segregating and prioritizing. So here we go. This box here is do it now box, right? So we have a do it now box here. Here we have a do it next box. Here we have a do it when there's time box, and there's a don't do it box. So so to Alex and your team, if you want to hire people of the same culture, here we have some good ideas. Get recommendations from staff, stories of what has worked before, define your culture properly, stories of what was not working, storytelling about culture, what is culture, draw the culture by asking right questions. It gets harder and harder. So you do things right on the top here, and you move down to the bottom here, and you move to the next one, yeah? And then if you have time, then you go into this thing which looks kind of complicated. Yeah, but we want to do that. So that's just an example of brainstorming, and you can take a snapshot of this later, and you can have a discussion with your team to further elaborate this.
Does that make sense? That's interesting. Yeah, we just did this like in 10-15 minutes, and we easily can generate like 10-20 ideas. And then I think having the structure to support it also really helps. So that's great. So given this, if any of our audience, if you have any questions on brainstorming, you're more than welcome to post a question. If Julius and I could provide you some information, we will do our best to answer you. And yeah, try it out. So if some of our audience who want to try out this virtual brainstorming, is it a free, a complimentary software, or do they need to subscribe to it?
Okay, those of you interested in the software that I've posted, let me just share maybe 3 of the more popular ones. There's this tool called Miro. That's the one that we just used. There's another tool called Mural, and there's a tool called Stormboard. Yeah, Mural and Miro is pretty much the same with some slight differences. So you can jot this down if you have a piece of paper or you want a screenshot or whatever. Capture this: Miro, Mural, Stormboard. They're 3 different companies. To answer Alex's question, is it free? You can actually sign up for free, and you will have certain features. And as all things virtual nowadays, if you want additional features, then you have to pay for the additional features. Yeah. So you want to host it maybe in a public domain with different people coming in, then maybe you need to pay. These 3 different companies will have different pricing strategies, but it's not really expensive. I think almost all SMEs can afford it without a problem. Yeah. So Miro,
Okay.
Miro, and Stormbot.
And if they were to, like you say, it's important to have someone who facilitate or someone who actually lead the brainstorming. Do Nikao offer any support to those who want to engage you?
Oh yeah, certainly. If you have some serious brainstorming that you need an external facilitator, we will be most happy to help with that. Like I showed you, there was one session that I did earlier that helped people to segregate what are the strategies that work didn't. Then I also did another session with clients to actually predict what's happening and what could they do with it. And sometimes external facilitation will work, especially if things are a little bit sensitive and people are playing politics, and sometimes you just need a third party to do it. But in
Yeah,
case
also
some
you
of you want
provide
to
a
do it
neutral
yourself,
space as well.
just take this screenshot. If you want to do it yourself, you think you can manage it. Just make sure everyone participates. All ideas are valid. If you just notice just now, I didn't point out a good idea. I didn't point out a bad idea. I let the team do that. The team do it. I didn't push someone down. I didn't put someone up. There are no sidebar discussions. Everybody was focused on the same thing. There was no judgment. No one criticized anyone's ideas. You can let people hitchhike or steal each other's ideas or build on each other's ideas. That's fine. And the common space, I use a Miro. You can use flip chart in the virtual world, physical world, but in a virtual world, you just need a space like Miro or Mural, one of those. So those are some rules.
That is awesome. And that brings us to the end of our session. Since I don't see any major question. It's simple, straightforward. Now, for those of you who needed any support from Julius, his number there, Nikao, that's his website, www.nikao-consulting.com, or you can contact Julius at 016-226-5220. Yeah, so I think having a facilitator is very important. I think the way you tee it up also make it easy for me and my team to do it, and then we just go in and do it. So it's fast, it's efficient, and it's effective. So hopefully with this, our SME audience or whoever outside, I think you can also use this for non-business matters. So it's not just constrained to business. Sometime in a personal or among friends or just family who wants to generate ideas or solution or go through a topic, this could be a tool that you can use during this time where all of us are in different part of the world or different part of the living space, given that we are all working from home. Okay, thank you very much, Julius, for your short 30 minutes. Is always short and sweet and to the point, and that's the great thing about working with you, Julius. I enjoy that 30 minutes with you, and I'm sure our audience will be able to get value going through your stuff. So,
Great, thanks, Alex.
anything
Thanks
else?
for hosting me. Always good to just meet up with you. It's just a great thing.
Yeah, and Intune, we work closely with Nikao for some of our clients who needed training or even coaching. So we work side by side with Julius as well. So if you guys need anything, come to us. If we can help you out in any way, we'll be more than happy to serve you. I know it is a challenging time. It is there's so much uncertainty going on. We don't know when actually we'll go into phase 2 or phase 3. And definitely the number that we are seeing, at least in Klang Valley, are very troubling. So I think with that, this could be a good time to actually look into what is going on right now and plan for the next 30 or 60 days. So this virtual brainstorming will be one of the tools that our client or even business owner outside there can use with your team to plan for what's next and take this opportunity to do that. Okay, any closing before we move? We end the topic since it's nice at 9:35. Anything else from you, Julius, before we call it a day?
No. Thanks, Alex, for having this, and just blessing the SME market. Great thing what you're doing with Intune. Really, really great thing what you're doing in Intune.
Thank you for your support. With that, we're gonna end the session with an outgoing video.
Intune Outsourcing is providing you a full scope of accounting from A to Z, exactly like an accounting department with a CFO, but not based in your office. Intune enters supplier invoices into accounts payable and do reconciliation with suppliers to make sure that our records are correct. Intune also processes payments to suppliers, staff, and expenses, updating sales invoices into accounts receivable, including collection received, providing statement of accounts to clients so that they can collect and chase money from their customers, providing the financial reports, including but not limited to profit and loss, balance sheets, cash flow, debtors and creditors aging, advisory and financial coaching, including presentation of accounts, highlighting key areas and key analytics to improve and grow clients' businesses. At the year end, we represent our clients to work with their auditors and tax agents for compliance matters. Intune also represent our clients to deal with different bodies and agencies such as Income Tax Office, Customs Department, EPF, SOCSO, and other authorities for matters relating to finance, business, and HR. So if you're still facing accounting problems, you need a professional like Intune to help you. Well, get Intune to fine-tune your decisions.